Hey guys, it's Will. It's Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society. Welcome back to the channel. This is just a relatively quick video to acknowledge some really sad news. Actually, Jimmy Wang passed away. And I was kind of on the fence about doing a video about this, not because obviously the subject matter entirely deserves the attention, because Jimmy Wang is one of the most important figures in the history of Hong Kong cinema, in the history of martial arts cinema, and really like world kind of action cinema in general. It's just that I have only become a Jimmy Wang fan within like the past 10 months or so, honestly. Like I had previously seen One-Armed Swordsman, but I hadn't seen any of his other films, and I saw Eureka put out One-Armed Boxer, and I absolutely loved this release, and I loved this film. And then Chinese Boxer, which I honestly think I like this movie even more than One-Armed Boxer, even though the releases, I would say, are on par. I think I kind of like the bonus features more on this one, but I liked this more as a film. And then Arrow is putting out One-Armed Boxer for Region A soon, so Region A people who don't have region-free players will be able to check that out. But anyway, it's really kind of sad that he passed away. He was born in 1943, and his daughter announced that he passed away. He was born, I believe, March 28th of 1943, and he passed away just a couple days ago, so early April. I think it was April 5th in Taiwan, I think, where he was living. So it was April, I think I found out April 4th in the US, because obviously we're behind a number of hours. And so his daughter just announced that he had passed away, and then the news kind of spread. And Frank Zhang actually let me know. He shared it in my Facebook group. But, you know, I mean, Jimmy Wang really he's one of those people where it is genuinely impossible to overemphasize how important he is. Like, as Frank Zhang said when I interviewed him, he was Bruce Lee before there was Bruce Lee. And, like, his innovations as a filmmaker for Shaw Brothers and for Golden Harvest influenced so many people, so many films like King Boxer, Boxer from Shantung. Those films would go on to influence the heroic bloodshed generation of filmmakers. Tarantino was obviously hugely influenced by Jimmy Wang. He was in Japanese films. He was in Zatoichi Meets the One-Armed Swordsman. So there's like some crossover there with like other classic traditions of cinema. You know, he was in One-Armed Swordsman, like I said, which was, you know, he was the star of that film, and that's a Chang Cheh film, and that's like one of the most important films in the history of martial arts cinema. But then again, I think you could argue so is Chinese Boxer. So he's been involved in like multiple films that completely changed the landscape of these movies. And he was in Golden Swallow, which is a sequel, I think like a kind of sequel to Come Drink With Me, which Chang Cheh also directed. And King Hu did Come Drink With Me. And he was in, obviously, Chinese Boxer, the One-Armed Boxer, the Master of the Flying Guillotine, The Man from Hong Kong, which is, I believe, an Australian film that's really well regarded, that George Lazenby was in, who, you know, played James Bond, between Sean Connery and Sean Connery, ultimately, right? Because Connery came back for one, and then Roger Moore. Anyway, we're talking about Jimmy Wang. But Beach of the War Gods, which I think that's a film that Tarantino really loves. I haven't seen that film. But Master of the Flying Guillotine is a film that a lot of people think is among the best martial arts films ever made. And like I believe Arna Venema told me that's his favorite martial arts movie ever. And other people have told me the same thing. And I did finally actually get my hands on a copy of that film. I have not reviewed it yet, but I will hopefully be doing that soon. So anyway, you know, I don't really need to go into his resume, but he's such a hugely important filmmaker. He was such a talented filmmaker. He was such a great actor, performer. You know, he wasn't really a trained martial artist in the way that Bruce Lee and a lot of these other people were. He was really kind of an actor who was a brawler, like in real life. Like if you read about his life, it's actually kind of insane. Like he would get in fights with people all the time. He would start brawls. Like I remember hearing one story where, I don't remember who told the story, but it was like a very famous person associated with Shaw Brothers. It may have even been Run Run Shaw. Someone was like walking through the Shaw lot, and there was a brawl happening in the cantina, whatever you call it, like the cafeteria, and they looked in, and Jimmy Wang was just surrounded by people fighting with them. They're like, oh, that's what he does. They just like went on with their day. He's kind of this like larger than life, incredibly epic, legendary figure. So this video is really just to say rest in peace to Jimmy Wang and to acknowledge the fact that he has passed, and that he is such an important and incredible filmmaker and talent, and will be very missed, and is a much beloved figure in the history of these films. So my name is Will. This is Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society. I invite you to please leave in the comments how much Jimmy Wang Yu meant to you, what your favorite films of his are, what films of his I should review, because I've only reviewed these two on the channel. I would really like to see Beach of the War Gods. I tried to find a copy of that and I couldn't find a good one if I remember correctly. I'll have to go back to my hard drive and look. I seem to remember I had a hard time finding a good copy of that, but I did, like I said, I did find Master of the Flying Guillotine. I may have also found Beach of the War Gods and just forgot about it. So I'm going to try to do some more reviews of his, and maybe I'll do Zatoichi Meets One-Armed Swordsman because I have the Zatoichi Criterion set. But anyway, like I said, I'm Will. It's Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society. I thank you so much for watching. Much respect and love, and rest in peace to Jimmy Wang Yu, and we'll see you next time.